Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Fit Chicks Chat. My name's Laura Jackson.
And I'm Amanda Quinn.
And on today's episode, we are talking about the seasons changing.
Yeah.
Again, depending on where you live. Where we live, it's finally warm and hot, whereas we had the most brutalist winter ever.
Do you
It was,
think?
January and February, there was zero sun. It was so dark, so snowy.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I can't remember like 2 days ago. So I don't remember what the winter was like. I'm like, what?
But what we wanted to
You
talk
know
about
how my
was,
memory is. My memory is horrible.
I
Like
know mine is too. I'm like, did
I'll
my
still
kid eat
never
lunch?
forget, total side note, I'll still never forget the day. And this is just to make everybody like understand how bad it is. That you and I went into a Blockbuster. This is how long ago it was. It was like 100 years ago. But we went into a Blockbuster video and we were going to rent a movie. And I was like, oh, what if we get this one? And you're like, we rented that last week. And I was like, oh.
Like, I don't remember
I
watching this.
don't remember anything about it. But that I still remember that moment so clearly because I'm like, it was such a clear indication of exactly how my brain works. It just doesn't remember certain things. But then I
Well,
remember this.
we always say both of our brains are like a sponge. When we
Yeah.
need to know stuff, it's like absorb, absorb, absorb. But as soon as we don't need to know it anymore, it's like wring it out, get rid
Yeah.
of it.
It's gone. Gonzo.
We got to free up space for more stuff we got to know. So,
Exactly.
in this episode, we're going to be talking about the seasons changing and specifically how this affects you and your clients. So, the thing a lot of people think around, especially the summertime, and again, depending on where you live, you might have warm weather all year round, but usually it's heading into the summer because the kids are off school and all of that stuff. This is a time where most people either don't want to start their health journey
Yeah.
or their fitness journey or their changes to their nutrition, or they want to slow down on it. So they either don't want to start or they want to slow down. And
Mhm.
we are here to talk about how do we help our clients? How do we help ourselves to be able to maybe not even ramp up our health goals, but get motivated to ramp it up if this is a time you want to work on it, or at least keep consistent with it. Because I know for so many of us, this idea of, oh, it's summertime triggers something in our brain that suddenly gives us permission to drink a ton of margaritas, eat a bunch of crap, and be like, oh, well, it was summertime and I'll start again in the fall when the kids go back to school and when I have more structure. And we want to encourage you guys that health and fitness and nutrition journeys, it's ongoing, right? It doesn't start and it doesn't end.
Mhm.
So it's like, how do we create a lifestyle? How do we fit it into our lives so it doesn't feel like this stop, start, slow down, ramp up kind of thing along the way?
For sure. Because I think that you're right. It's when we are going into a new season, when it's like summertime, when it's sometimes winter time, we want those comfort foods. Like it doesn't matter really which season you're in. I think it's just looking at each season and seeing how it affects you emotionally, mentally, how that sort of like shift happens where you're like, oh, it's summer now. So I'm gonna like, you know, I don't want to go work out. It's too hot to go for a run. So I'm just going to like chill out in the backyard and drink some margaritas, like you said. Or in the winter, you're like, it's cold out, and so therefore I want comfort food. It's too cold to go outside. There's always a reason to not go outside for a run. But there's like
We're like, yep.
but I think that it's just like looking at it and saying, okay, because I understand that things are going to change season to season. Life has different seasons, but things are going to shift and change. How do I adopt new habits so that they work with any season?
Well,
And
and
that's
I think that that's one of the biggest things, especially if you're already a coach and you're coaching clients. It's really hard to get people to understand this at first, right? Because we always tend to think that like our journey is a destination we're going to. It's like,
right.
oh, I'm going for a weekend trip from, Toronto to Ottawa or from New York to California, right? We think of it as a destination that we're going to, where in all reality, like I said, it doesn't start and it doesn't stop. So it's hard for people to really start to think of their fitness and their health in that way when they're just starting out because they just want to feel the change, right? They don't like where they are and they want to feel different. So these are things that, again, you can implement all year long. And I think as a coach, you need to understand this because it really is about helping your clients be able to lead themselves and know what to do so they don't feel like I'm in the off season or I'm in the on season, because that
Right.
is what really leads to that cycle of dieting and that cycle of feeling like you're never getting anywhere because you're just start and stop.
True.
So how do we help our clients? And if you're listening and you want to learn how to help yourself, it's the same thing.
Mhm.
So the first thing is you have to know your schedule in the upcoming season. And I know that this sounds kind of like, okay, I thought it was going to be something I should eat or an exercise I should do. But the thing is that when we are shifting from things from our normal routine, so for example, in the summertime, we might be going to the cottage or the kids are off school. So now you have a whole different dynamic. Maybe they go to day camp. Maybe, you're going on family vacation. Anything that shifts from what you would be doing, let's say, from January till June, where it's like you work 5 days a week, maybe they're in full-time school, you have to make sure that you know these changes and make decisions in advance about what you're going to do when it comes to your fitness and nutrition.
Mhm. I agree. And I think understanding how things are going to shift if you have less time in your day. So it's like, okay, if I normally go for an hour run and now my kids are home from school and I know I only have like a 20-minute window, what does that look like for you? How are you going to make that work? Or if it's you're going to your cottage, it's like, okay, are there some trails nearby that I can go hiking on or things like that that replace, so you're still doing movement, but you're replacing the usual sort of patterns that you may have already had. Or can I buy some equipment that I can bring with me to the cottage to do my workouts if I'm doing strength training or things like that? Just so that you're not just saying, oh well, it's not available. I'm in a different environment or I'm in a different schedule or routine and therefore I just can't do it now.
Well,
It's
and
so
that's one of the biggest things is it's not that people don't want to keep to a healthy routine during the summertime. It's that they don't plan in advance for it. So when
mhm,
we don't plan in advance for things, what we do is we're stuck making decisions in the moment. And no one makes good decisions in the moment. We've talked about this tons of times on the podcast, right? When we're in the moment, we go more to our primitive brain, which is seeking pleasure, avoiding pain, and putting in the least amount of effort as possible.
oh,
AKA, we are sitting on the dock drinking a beer as opposed to, okay, I had already decided that today I'm going to do, my outdoor workout. I'm going to go for a hike or whatever it is. So when we're left to make those decisions in the moment, we usually don't make ones that are in line with our long-term goal. So if you know your schedule in advance, or as a coach, you know your client's schedule in advance, and you have this discussion with them, like, okay, what is your schedule for the summertime? What are going to be some of the obstacles that are going to happen that could be an obstacle for your fitness journey? So
mhm,
maybe it's traveling, or for your nutrition journey. Maybe it's, that you've got a lot of summer parties. Okay, great. We know that those things already could be an obstacle. So let's have strategies in place so we know what to do. And honest to God, this sounds so simple, but no one does this. Which
right.
is why, we go to the cottage, we go away, and we expect things to be exactly the way it is when we are in our regular normal routine, and then get mad at ourselves when we don't do it because we're
Mhm.
not taking into account those changes and we're not deciding in advance, I'm going to work out on these days and these are the days I'm going to take off. And when you do it that way, it just takes out so much decision making in the moment and stress, and you can just focus on getting it done
Yeah. Just keep your schedule handy. Just keep it consistent and keep it handy and keep it close by.
and
That's it.
decide in advance.
Yeah.
Decide in advance. That's the number one thing. I
Mhm.
decide every week what I'm doing for the week ahead in advance. I am like, this is the days I'm taking off. This is the days I'm working out. Because then if something does happen that is a, part of my negotiable moves, that's a whole other podcast. Then I'm like, oh, okay, I can just flip those 2 days. I
Yeah.
already have a strategy for everything. Right. So then my fitness does not become the last thing on my list, which for a lot of us, it does, especially with family and busy times and everyone being off. The second thing is that your fitness might have to change. So let's say you're a fitness coach, you're programming for your clients, you have to take into account that fitness during the summer months is probably going to look different for your clients than it is during the winter months. And you have to make sure that you can program and support them for that during these differences. So Amanda said a couple of them, like, for example, instead of, maybe you're not going to be doing cardio on the treadmill, but you're going to be going for hikes outdoors.
Yeah. Maybe you're joining an outdoor boot camp. Maybe you're going for a bike ride. Maybe you're just, going for a walk in your neighborhood because it's beautiful out and you just want to get your like your steps in, but you don't want to be indoors. A lot of times, especially like where we're from, in Canada, like it gets really cold and dark in the winter months. So when we have the ability to eat outside, move outside, do these things outside, we generally want to do that because we know that there's going to be many months coming up where you're not going to want to be outside because it's going to be so cold that your face will feel like it's freezing off.
Totally. And I think as a coach, it literally is just getting creative. You know, you're still going to be programming for strength training and cardio. It's just going to look different. They might be doing it with different equipment. They might be doing it with more body weight, right?
Mhm.
The cardio might be more outdoor elements as opposed to if they're doing things indoors. So it's just really, again, going back to knowing your client, knowing their schedule, knowing what they have access to. And that's where the coaching component really comes in. And then we have nutrition. So this is something that I love because you guys hear all the time how I promote eating low glycemic vegetables and fruits.
Mm.
So of course, they're a great source of fiber. They fill up our bellies so we can eat a lot more volume with less calories. And the thing is that low glycemic vegetables and fruits are in season in the summer. So which means they are cheaper, they are more available,
Mhm.
and they're even more delicious. So if you're eating seasonal and you're eating fresh, and also during the summer months, we tend to crave different things, right? Which is why we eat more veggies and fruits that grow above the ground, which are low glycemic vegetables. They're lower in starch, they're higher in water content. Whereas in the winter months, we tend to crave more starchier root vegetables because we want to be more grounded and we want to be more, warm and comforted. So this is where too, as a coach, making sure your clients are understanding, what these low glycemic choices are and really focus on bulking up on those with every single meal. We always say 2 cups of low glycemic vegetables. Also making sure that you have some options for them, again, to cook seasonally. So one of the things that I always say to my students is, a lot of people love barbecuing during the summertime. So making sure that you have options that are barbecue options, lots of smoothies, cold smoothie recipes, salad recipes, um, things that again you can get in a lot of these low glycemic vegetables, but it's in a variety of different ways that are more in line with the way people are eating in the summer months.
Mhm. And just finding ways to introduce like not opportunities, but like new ways of approaching your eating if you are going to like those parties and events and things and like summer barbecues and stuff, just being very aware of like, okay, I'm still going to follow my complete and three rule, which we've talked about a million times over on here, but like what are some of the fruits and veggies and things like that that I can eat at these, like just becoming very familiar with sort of what your approach is going to be for the summer months so that you're not being tempted with all of the like creamy salads and all that kind of stuff that can
And with
come
the
from.
cost and with the cost of food, right? Like if you're eating seasonally, it's usually cheaper.
True.
So,
Go to
right
the
now you'll see
farmers market.
certain fruits and vegetables, like right now where we live, asparagus and berries are a lot cheaper, strawberries specifically,
Yeah.
um, right now because they're in season. Those are 2 great low glycemic vegetables and fruits, right? To add to your smoothies, to your salads. Asparagus, great on the barbecue, great in the air fryer, great raw. Like there's so many different things you can do with it. So as a coach, you just want to also be making sure that you're not just giving the same advice season to season, like have some different options for them to be able to implement this in. And of course, how to build their meals, which you learn in our certifications to make it all easier. And then the fourth thing to help our clients during these seasonal changes is adopting the mindset that health, fitness, and nutrition are for life and not on and off again. So
Yeah.
this is what we talked about at the beginning. This is really important to work on with your clients ongoing. So I always think about it in the way of like helping your clients focus on what health looks like for them during that season. Because as a coach, when you're coaching someone, your job is to help your clients be able to do this for life. We
Mhm.
know that short term fixes do not work. So if you adopt a mindset of, I'm only doing this for this summer to get to this goal, you will go back to the old you immediately after that time is done, right? You have to figure out things that work for you. So I always say, what does health look like for me during the summer season? Does it look like bike rides? Does it look like more, shopping at the local farmers market? Does it look like maybe it's less weight training, more cardio? I don't know, but what does that look like for me that feels good for me? Where are my weaknesses? And where am I already successful? So where do I already have those habits that I'm already doing those things? And how can I then adopt that into the summertime? And then where are my weaknesses? So for me, one of my big weaknesses over the summertime is it's so nice out that I usually want to go and have drinks on a patio. Like that's always my thing because we don't get a lot of outdoor time in the winter time. And it's like I live in the vineyards and it's beautiful. It's wine country. So I'm like, oh, I want to go have a glass of wine on a patio.
Yeah.
And for me, that's something that is there. So it's like, okay, how can I incorporate that and still have it, but not it take away from my health goals?
Hmm. No, and I think, for me, when I think about it too, I always think, what are the things that I really want to do? And it's like, I just want to be outside. I want to spend as much time as I can outside with my daughter as well. And so it's looking at, okay, well, can we go to the field and play soccer? Can we go for bike rides together? Can we bike and have a picnic in a park? And things like that, that is super cool memories and fun for us to do, but at the same time it's still getting movement in. It's still adding like exercise to my routine, obviously still doing my workouts, but it's giving me more outside time access, which is what I crave in the summer.
Well, and I think this is a big thing for a lot of clients and people who think fitness is only in the gym. It's like, how do I create this whole lifestyle of fitness? So if I'm not in the gym, I don't feel like I'm stopping. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, I don't feel like, oh, I missed my workout, that you still have the tools to be able to do the same strength training workout, but it looks different because you're at the cottage, or it looks different doing cardio because you are out on the trails. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, we get so attached to this one idea of fitness because that's been working for us, which is great. But we also have to create that flexibility because this is a lifelong journey, right? It doesn't mean just because I have access to the gym, I'm healthy or I'm more active.
Hmm.
So those are our 4 things, our 4 ways to help your clients or help yourself. So know your schedule, know in advance what your routine is going to be outside of your normal routine, and get a plan in place for what the obstacles are going to be and what are your strategies to deal with them. Accept that your fitness might change and, think about how that's going to work for you. Nutrition, make sure you're eating those low glycemic vegetables and stocking up on them. They're cheaper, they're readily available, they're full of nutrition right now, too. And then adopt that mindset of movement for life, not that this is an on and off again thing.
Yeah.
Because if you can do that, it will start to become who you are, not what you do. And when that happens, that is when fitness feels easier and nutrition feels easier because it's who you are. It's not something that you have to keep focusing on.
When you make that shift, it literally is the game changer
Yeah.
between I'm doing a workout versus I'm someone who moves my body every day.
Yeah.
It's literally that shift. And when that mindset shift happens and it becomes exactly who you are, it's just ease. And
The
it's no
resistance to
longer,
it
yeah,
releases.
it's no longer like a fighting sort of a feeling like it's on your to-do list. It's just part of what you do. It's
Yeah.
part of who you are. Yeah. That's when it becomes easy. But it takes time and practice. So just keep going.
You got
Essentially
this.
keep going on that journey.
Okay, everybody. So thank you for today. Make sure that you check out fitchexacademy.com to check out our upcoming certifications. We got some fun things that are coming up.
Mm-hmm.
We also have some amazing done for you programs and courses, mini courses on our website as well. If you go and check those out, if you want to dip your toe into some more fitness and nutrition coaching and education, give them a try. I promise you, they will change the way you work out, the way you eat, the way you think, the way you act when it comes to your fitness and nutrition. So have an amazing day, and we will see you guys soon. Bye.